So I brought you down to Dover today and I've shown you around.
Yeah, yeah.
And kind of showed you what killed the town with all the corporations moving in and how our high street died off.
Mm-hmm.
Just behind you I showed you the port where the illegal immigrants come in daily, especially on a lovely calm day like this. As you can see, this with the castle up there, this should be a thriving town. The history here is second to none. The fish and chips that you're enjoying right now, because I've made him eat like a common man, people. No fancy restaurants with me. He's eating like a common man.
I thought he was going to go to a Chinese, Italian, not even an Indian today.
Right.
But this
This is British fish
is
and chips.
my food as well. I like this food. Fish and chips.
That's it.
I used to eat this when I was a youngster, you know.
You tried running for the Mayor of London
I did.
and
Didn't win.
Mr. Steve Khan got you. How do you feel about that? Having
Well,
At first I was angry, like everybody would be. If someone is passionate like me to go and dedicate my time for everybody. Because when I was doing it, my brain was saying to me, it's not for you, it's for the public. It's for everybody. So you're doing it for everyone, not for yourself. And when I ran, I already had plans in my brain, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do things, stop the knife crime. I even went to see the gangs, the knife crime gangs. I had my stab vest on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And two of my friends, they were in the car and they got near and they saw these big black guys. They were huge, far away.
Yeah.
I said, that's where we're going. He said, we're not going there. We'll stay in the car. I said, no, you're coming with me. No, we're going to stay in the car. Any filming you want done? I said, I don't want any filming done, but you need to come and support me. So I thought, I got my stab vest on and I thought, oh God, I'll have to go and do it myself. And I went up there and I was quite scared, to be honest. They were big guys. I will not say scared. It's like, you don't want to be involved in something that is not needed, you know? So,
You're out your territory, aren't you? You're
Yeah.
not used to this kind of thing. It'd be
Well,
nervous for anyone.
I mean, it's not their territory either. They don't own the place. But at the end of the day, I rang the police. The police said, no, we forbid you to go down there. I said, well, you're not going to have any cars. He said, well, you're not going there to do anything, and hopefully they're not going to damage you. I said, what do you mean by that? But they said, we forbid you to go. I said, well, there's no crime in it. I'm going to go. I have to go.
That's
Running
it.
for Mayor of London, I want to go and I want to talk to them.
Oh, you should see your people. You
Yeah.
know. We've,
When I saw them, cut a long story short, they said, you got 5 minutes. What do you want? I said, no, I come here to talk to you about knife crime, other things. You know, things go well between us. You could have a job with us. You could, you know, help fix our country, lots of things. So he said, you got 5 minutes. I said, okay, I'll do you a favour. Give me 10 minutes. I'll take my stab vest off. You take off your balaclava so we know who we're talking to.
Yeah.
You know who I am. You can see me. I can't see you. And we had 5 minutes arguing about that. And then he said, okay, I'll give you 10 minutes. 10 minutes became 45 minutes. And I made friends with them. But the point is that even they're frustrated about what was going on and what is going on. And they turned to crime. They said, you want to blame us for turning to crime? It's your issue. But we still got to put food on the table. I said, but that doesn't mean you take things from people.
You came to my house to meet me for today.
Mm.
And you saw in my front garden, I've got a fairly big front garden.
Yeah.
And I'm taking up half of that now to build up basically a summer house for my son, my 18-year-old. He's got a girlfriend. They both work.
Wow.
You know, they're both full-time work, but they've got no chance of getting a property, going out. You know, nowadays it's £300 just for a reference check. A friend I know earns well over £40,000 a year, wanted to move into my area where you've just been, and got told he doesn't earn enough money. Doesn't it? So you've got to earn at least like over £50,000 now to actually rent a property.
I'm in property business.
Yeah.
Look, as a advisor to, like, if you want to buy a place, I can get you the money, the mortgage.
Yeah, it's not that, but what are young? You know,
The youngsters.
my grandparents could have the dad go out to work, the mum would stay at home. They could buy their own property eventually.
Yeah.
You can't do that now.
No.
You can't.
The thing is that it's funny you say that, because when I was going to run for mayor, my plan was I'd set up this scheme in my head already, put it into paper and thought this could work. So if the interest rate was 4%, I would get you money at 4%,
Yeah.
right? Divided by the figure you wanted, by the income. So if you were paying, say, £1,000 a month, 12,000 a year,
Yeah.
right? That's 12,000 a year, yeah. So you divide that by the interest rate. That's 480,000, right?
Yep.
I would give you 480,000, 100% loan, and you pay it. And I would no credit checks, no details. Just because you lived in London and you were paying rent, you would get the money. And I spoke to 3 hedge funds to do that, and they loved the idea. And I said, this is a good way of getting youngsters onto the ladder,
Yeah.
and others that can't show back good credit, but they are not going to want to lose their home,
Yeah, I hear you.
you know?
Yeah.
And like, when you're out to do good, don't tell me it's raining. Is it really raining? We're going to do a podcast in the rain. How's that?
I wanted to bring you out here because, like, we're obviously in 2 different worlds, yeah? You run in a political world. You just come back from Portugal. I saw on your live.
Yeah.
You know, you was at, like, in an opera. You know, you kind of live a different world to what I do, yeah? I'm a very common man, a glass cutter by trade.
Yeah.
You know, I've lived a common life. So I wanted to show you really what the basic, and I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you was like, yeah, do you know what?
Spent 2 hours, 3 hours getting here.
Yeah.
Getting lost.
We'll go through my story.
Yeah.
I've had hell in my life, but I'm still standing here. I don't care. I don't take stress on. It does affect you, of course, I understand.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm a normal guy, and I've been through hell. And who's helped me? How many people did I help? That's not about what it's about today. What it's about today is us integrating together, sharing a few ideas. One works, and everybody's beginning to make money. This is what our country should have been built on, not on being forced to work for someone, paying 40% tax, or even, let's say average 40. Yeah, it is 40% with national insurance, right? And half your money nearly is gone.
Yeah.
Now, I know we get angry with the police and stuff. Look what they got to do for 35 grand a year, 38 grand. And they can barely live at... I've got quite a few friends. My friend's girlfriend is a CID. She's telling me stories. She's saying, I was quite lucky. My dad gave me some money to buy a house. Yeah. And I got the rest of it on mortgage. But others, my friends, are barely eating, and they're serving the community.
I'm glad you brought up integration because, as you know, at the moment there's a lot of talk about Islam and far right and all this, blah blah blah. Now, I can see idiots on both sides. To tell you the truth, there's a lot of people online. I get it on my TikTok lives. We're going to take over your country. We're here to stay. You know, all this rubbish.
I always write a note saying, don't listen to that nonsense. Don't roll up. Don't rise up to the bait.
Yeah, so like, for instance, the football lads here, they're holding an event in London. They're called Flag, Football Lads Against Grooming Gangs. Now this is white, brown, black. They don't care what colour these grooming gangs are. You know we've had white ones in Manchester, in Scotland. And we know, Rochdale, Rotherham were mainly Pakistani Muslim men. But these are against all grooming gangs. Now I've put a post up and I find a lot of the Muslims jump on my back and go, well, why aren't you talking about the white Muslim gangs, the white grooming gangs, Andy, blah blah blah. And I said, well, I am. The grooming gangs means everyone. It doesn't matter what colour you are. You're in that bracket, so that's what we're doing. And I find they get very defensive, like we're always attacking their culture or their religion. How are they going to get over this barrier and just join the normal people of Britain?
Well, it's a good question. I think a lot of it's education. I think the ones that are born here are a bit more educated. I don't know. I could be wrong. But
That's the thing, I find they're worse.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that because they think they got a bit of education, they might be able to cover that up with jumping on board anybody touching any child in the world. I'm telling you now, if I was Prime Minister, I'd bring back capital punishment. That idiot in prison,
Yeah.
excuse my words,
No.
who just threw hot water on a
Prison officer.
No excuse. He goes and he gets dealt with.
So you think there should be some kind of like human morality clause in our laws where if you step beyond, like take the innocence of a child, you've given up your human rights, haven't you? You've given up your morality. You've given up all this lefty stuff. You know what I mean?
There's
like,
no human right. He's gone.
yeah,
That's
he
it.
should be gone. Yeah, I agree.
Capital
Absolutely
punishment
agree.
on the nose, on the door, no court, no nothing.
Yeah, people say, do you write questions down for your guests and things like that? Or when I go on live, they say, oh, what's the subject today, Andy? And there is no subject with me. Like, I come on and the more we just naturally talk and the conversation will go from this to that, to this to that, blah, blah. And it just naturally flows in my lives.
Yeah.
You know, I don't come up here to bash anyone or bash any cultures or anything like that. But, you know, we've all got problems in our cultures. The white man's got too many drinking lagerlouts, you know.
Yeah.
And then you got the silly side of Muslim Islamic laws where they want to, you know, the world to be Sharia law and all this rubbish, you know.
Sharia law,
yeah,
no.
Sharia.
That shouldn't happen because even Liam asked me about that. I said, if you want to do any type of religion, please do it, but do it in your home.
Yeah, that's it.
Do it in the church. Do it anywhere but out on the street. If we have a civilized society here, that people live nicely, in good, hopefully in economic freedom, they should be dressing the way we dress because it integrates them. They don't get it. It's not. There's nothing that says that you have to be all in black colour and cover your eye and cover everything but your eyes. I think that's wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm Indian, but even when our Indian ladies came from abroad, they used to wear saris. They used to wear a shawl over their head, but their face was open.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, each to their own, no problem. We are a giving society, we are an interesting society, but the point is that what we're forgetting is that you go to a real Islamic country and you have to wear their clothes when you turn up to their country. They put the law down, there's no barriers.
Right.
Well, why are we so...
Well, they're not tolerant of our culture, but
No,
we
but-
have to be tolerant of theirs.
No, but when it suits us, governments, police, etc., they throw the law down on us.
Yeah.
That's not right. We're one of the most giving countries when it comes to money, even if it's gone to a fake place. That we always give, right? But that's another story. We're going to talk about that later. Don't even get me started. But these are the reasons why I want to get into government and fix things. I don't like politics. I've told people many times, I'll tell you as well. I want to fix things. I call it politics because it is. Because the pub, look at Nigel Farage jumping up and down. Oh, well, we won. Well, you won last year some seats and some councils. What did you do in that 1 year? Nothing.
Yeah.
What are you going to do this year? Nothing. I'm not being rude in any way here. Please forgive me if I say something wrong and Instagram block us or not. But why is most of our government gay? Why? We can't choose anybody in the whole country to come out and put our face into the world and bring business in with businessmen, people working in our country, good, honest people. This is what I would do. Bring a team of people and go and promote England like you've never seen, like a football match in the world, and bring business back. What is this deal with...
India.
well, before India, the trade things.
Oh, with Donald Trump?
The trades, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going to sign up a deal. But I heard Trump... I heard something the other day that hit me in my head. So he wants to bring American companies to the UK. What does that mean? Does that mean that we're going to have English people working for American companies, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But are we going to be having an American company coming here with their American staff?
Oh, I don't know, but I just saw in Africa.
And the same for India, the same for anybody. Look, I'm not against anyone, to be honest. What I want is to see, when I was growing up as a kid, you know, I remember everybody was kind of integrated anyway, pretty much. You know, they'd say the word wog and all this other stuff, love thy neighbour and all that other stuff used to come out. But it was nice. Kids were playing on the streets. There was no knife crime then.
No.
There was not so many abductions going on. But what has happened here is politicians have become politicians.
Yeah.
They're out to see what... Look, we are no different to an African country with a head of state who goes and gets the cash, parks it in Switzerland somewhere.
Yeah.
What, these guys are doing it in our face here, right now. People like Johnson, what did he do? He bought all that stuff for COVID, left the stuff in there for 5 weeks. Who pocketed the cash? Michelle Mone, Lords, House of Lords, Wonderbra girl.
Yeah.
Has anyone got confiscated her money and put her in prison?
No, they won't. That's what.
No, but they will if you're foreign, say. They will if you're not colliding in the system, but they're not like coming out and saying, right, we've got the cash, we're giving it back to the people. This money, right now, is going into everyone's bank account. Doesn't matter how many people we have.
But this is what the common man that like we all know that politicians will do what they want to earn a bit of money and all that. That's always been that way, and I can kind of accept it to a point. But when you've got hundreds of thousands of girls in 50 towns across this country that you know have been systematically tortured, really, raped, tortured, you know, and your government
I'm against that.
says, well, we're not going to hold a national inquiry about it, and you don't read where people from the council to social service, where these people are being arrested left, right and centre, and you know, these court cases, but yet one riot, which he's just had to backtrack on, calling it Far Riot, he was fast tracking people in prison, but he's not fast tracking anyone in prison from these grooming gangs or anything like that. Yeah, very weird. Yeah, very. You know, and that's what frustrates the common man, and then that's why you get people, you know, calling for stupidness, because it's the only thing they see at the moment. And what is very interesting to me as well is if Reform do win the next general election, all eyes from this nation are going to be on them. They better deliver, because if they don't deliver,
They won't.
and if they don't deliver, then what other option have we got? We've just changed the two parties that have been in charge of this country for the last 100 years. We've come together collectively and gone, right, Reform, you have a go. We can't trust these two no more. And they end up playing the same game as the other two.
You know why they will? Shall I tell you why?
Because the men in suits are going to come out the back. The money, the banks.
The reason they're being told what to do is because our systems, from the NHS to anything, to the police, anything in between is broken. You look at any section of government, it's broken. Why are we not cleaning our country?
Yeah.
It's broken, right? Why are we treating our people like this? Why are we giving money to a foreign country that has no bearance on us, ever? We are not going to benefit anything from this. We're just giving them our money, but when it comes to our elderly, they're not being looked after. The army veterans not being looked after, because the system is broken. It's easier for you to come into power, pick the cash, go to France, Italy, Switzerland, Germany, whatever, park it there. Oh, well, you know, this happened and what? It's going to be the same story, yeah? Because either you've got the real truth of the families controlling it, which I'm coming to as you asked me that question, and I somehow believe it, but I'll tell you this, might get hammered now. I might need security. City of London holds a lot of cards. No one's looking at the City of London. But I went through the history tracks. 700 years before
Yeah.
England's history to now, you know what's changed?
Not a lot.
I
Apart from a lot
believe
of
now that the
legislation.
City of London hold about, I don't know the figure, 700 trillion pounds of our money.
Yeah, don't surprise
Right?
me. Don't surprise
Now,
me.
this explains the reason why the councils are bust. Bankrupt is the word. Khan gets in with 18.1 billion in City Hall, right?
Yeah.
His CEO is on 300,000 for Transport for London, for Greater London Authority,
Yeah.
GLA we call it, for our viewers, and TfL, Transport for London. She's also 190 grand or so for TfL, Transport for London. Now, there's where the corruption starts, okay? And then underneath him, he's got 19 mayors, assistant mayors. We don't need that, right? Then, underneath that little trail, okay, is where all the corruption started. Because when I ran, there were 16 independents like me. They were given all the numbers and the names. The parties, after, if you're a party and you're running,
Yeah.
you get all the data of the country.
Yeah.
But for some reason in London, and in London only, we only get 6 million amounts of data. Half of them could be dead, half of them could not exist, so on, right? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, we don't have 6 million people in London. We have at least 10, minimum, and undocumented, okay?
Yeah.
So when you look at it like that, they go and put them towards the end of the election into the audience. What about me?
Yeah.
I go out hunting, get my names. We're supposed to get 330 names, right? And the electoral numbers and £10,000.
Yeah.
That's to get in. There was no form to fill in. You want to believe that?
Yeah.
From March the 12th, we were told from March the 12th to the 28th, we were given actually 7 days, because I rang the councils and I had to ring all 33 councils. They wouldn't let my team ring them. They said, no, you as the person have to ring them. You're the person running for the election. Okay, so March the 19th came. Oh, I rang them up just a bit earlier. Oh, you're not a candidate. What do you mean? I've been doing this since September last year. No, you're not a candidate. We don't. You don't represent us, and you are not representing the Mayor of London until the 19th of March. Now I've got 8 days.
Yeah.
8 days. What happens? The other clowns have already got their data because they know they're not going to win.
Yeah.
They put them into the audience. They don't put them onto the front, give them a little bit of television, make them happy.
So you're going to go for London Mayor in 2025?
No, it's not like that.
No,
It's
how's
actually
it gonna
every
go?
4 years.
Every 4 years, like our general election.
Yeah, General's 5.
Because you're going to be up against Anthony Middleton, aren't you?
I don't really care who I'm up against. I know. Yeah, because
SAS veteran, pal.
it doesn't matter. I studied what's going on. But if people understand the word corruption, what's going on. And as I said to you again, you step in the shoes of a bad system, then you are not going to get anything.
But the thing is, I think Anthony Middleton might have over most people, is that he's come from that common background, pretty much like my brother-in-laws and that. He's gone into the army, he's served, you know what I mean? He's got to the top, the pinnacle, SAS, you know, or SBS. Not quite sure which one he was in. But, you know, he's got to the pinnacle. He loves his country, it's pretty obvious, you know. And I know from social media, a lot of people will back him. How are you going to go against that? How are you going to go against that?
I love competition.
It's not about people liking you, it's about what you're going to deliver. Now, history has proven that no one's delivered.
Look at Trump. They
Trump,
loved him.
yeah, Trump is Trump. I'm like Trump, to be honest with you. I won't take any nonsense. If I say I'll do something, okay. Has Ant Middleton taken 49 people off the streets of London?
I couldn't tell you what Anthony Middleton's
Well, I
done.
did, and that was hard.
But he does a lot of behind the scenes veteran stuff.
I mean, this was behind the scenes stuff as well, but it was not something that. But while I was doing it, he gets an honour, right? And I, not that I want it or not, but the point is that the councils ridiculed me, right? They thought I was a terrorist because I brought 49 people to the council.
Oh.
And they said that they wouldn't. They said they're calling the police on me. And then they called the police on me. 7 police officers turned up, 2 sergeants, 1 inspector, and the guy came in like this, and he said to the lady, he said, "Why am I here?" "Oh, he's a terrorist. He's got, look, these people, all men behind him." There was 3 women there, right? See, he agrees with me.
Yeah, that's it.
And they basically, I didn't get arrested. But the point is this, that the way she did it, you know, I made sure that the CEO of that council was resigned. He fired himself the next day, because I promised him in front of the police that I will make sure he doesn't get this job anymore.
But this is what you're going to face, aren't you? Because as soon as you start to try and go against the narrative, we've seen it. You know, Russell Brand, Katie Hopkins, even Nigel Farage, they shut his banks down. Poor Tommy Robinson sat in prison right now. If you go against their narratives,
I've had a lot done.
you're going to be painted as the bad guy. How are you going to get through their media machine? Because, you know, once again,
our public will vote.
Our public are the ones providing only that we try and get digital ID here, digital voting here and on our phones, and providing that these little vans, that you get this little piece of paper, scrappy piece of paper, where you put all your X's with a pencil, guys, don't forget.
Yeah, I asked about that.
And you put that X in there, and it goes into this scrappy little box, right? Goes into a van somewhere. The van travels to the counting area and and you know the rest. I don't need to say anything that's not correct.
They saw in one, I'm not quite sure where it was, but they were running and they saw put their independent votes into the Labour votes, and they called them out on it and was calling for a recount, and then the people end up ringing the police and saying that these lot are causing trouble, but they saw the corruption right in front of their eyes and tried calling it out. And they, luckily, because we're in 2025, cameras everywhere. It got caught on camera, you know what I mean? So,
but it's a wrong system. Piece of paper and a pencil. Come on.
yeah, but
That's
even
not
digital could be
democratic.
hacked.
No. If you do blockchain, a serious blockchain, you can't get hacked.
Yeah.
Because even when the blockchain is expired, the passcodes expire.
Yeah.
So even if they've got the passcodes, the guys that did it, or girls that did it, they won't be able to get into it because the system dissolves the expiry. I don't know how the matrix, because I've seen it working in a few countries and it's fantastic.
I must admit, when
And 97% go out and vote because they've got their phone in their hand.
Yeah.
And what is this about the postal system? Yeah? What is it about the dead people in the 6 feet under with their names? Yeah, come on. Is that democratic?
No.
Someone works all his life and says, yeah, I'll vote for that guy. I go there, and funny you say all this, because the next thing is, I go to the door and the guy says, will you do this? Yes. Will you do this? Yes. Yes. You do your yes stuff, right? But when you go and win, and you got 20,000 votes, do you know what happens next? You become a member of parliament. Remember the words. A member, M-O-P, member of parliament. What does that mean? Means no, it means that you've joined a club, right? Like the arts club, but it isn't the arts club. It isn't Home House or one of these fancy clubs in London. It is the member of parliament. Now, once you're in there, you've got no power. You've got no say. You can't say what you want.
Yeah, I hear you.
Who's spoken? I know that I will change our country and change it for the better and make it smarter, make our kids brighter, protect our women. I'm chairman of International Human Rights in Africa. Last year we stopped 355,000 women in containers near North Korea, where Kim Jong-un reposted my 15-minute city. I don't know if Rob Moore was shocked. That was 27 million then. It's gone over to 50 million. But we've got them, and we've got 51,000 kids back. If it wasn't for his people over there, because we knew that the boats had got that far.
Yeah.
Women were screaming, the kids. It was just a horrible sound to hear. I didn't see the pictures.
I can literally hear my TikTok audience live now going, why the hell is he giving a damn about Africa for when literally 200 yards behind him, immigrants coming over on a boat to our country, you know what I mean?
Only because they told me to start with Africa. Africa needs a lot of help. I mean, believe you me. But I mean, it's 1.6 billion people, 54 countries.
Yeah, but Africa's kind of helping themselves at the moment, aren't they? Because they're kicking the Chinese out, they're kicking the French out.
Good.
You know, they want the Western influence gone, don't they? Yeah, I always say all the same.
Because they've been pillaging it, raping it, and same old stories again and again and again. Well,
this is what England did back in the day. Okay,
yeah.
we're a civilised society. We were always a civilised society. It's not us, it's government.
Well, you're from India. I heard someone say the
I
other
was
day.
born in
Well,
England.
born in England, but your heritage is Indian. I heard someone say the other day that India was the most cleverest nation when it came to us colonising, because because they took all our technology but none of our religion or heritage and that, where Africa took our religion and our heritage but none of our technology. That's why, you know, India is booming today and Africa not so much.
Well, I mean, look, after 1946, it was a sorry state. It was terrible, bad, but very bad. Kids on the street were actually becoming mums and dads for the children, selling things and running out. No education, nothing. It was completely uneducated systems. Interesting thing about this is the middle classes are far wealthier than a lot of the countries in the world. And the youngsters as well.
Do you know how to turn this country around? Honestly, God's honest truth, start a hemp industry. I know you keep that.
You spoke about it earlier.
I said it to her and you laughed. But do you know, hemp, right, can end the oil industry, the plastic industry. We can build houses out of it. In Holland, they are literally building houses out of hemp now that they put flamethrowers on, and it won't catch on fire. Like, so, not only that, that's just created free industries for our country to work in and bring some pride back. And then you start exporting that across the world, and you can say, look, we don't rely on oils and plastics in this country. We have a hemp industry that runs all that for us. You could literally change the world. And I know, like, you just hear the all wacky-backy, everyone's walking around, like, but Canada, when they legalised it, their first year made £30 billion in revenue. That went straight back into Canada. Now, I'm not saying have a coffee shop on every corner. You could regulate it like Holland does and only have so many in towns. Like, if a town's so big in Holland, they're only allowed 3 coffee shops. You know, if it's a city, obviously a bigger place, they're allowed more. But they started having chains of coffee shops open up where one chain was taking over everything. They stopped all that. They said, no, we have little independent ones so everyone can have a crack at the whip. You know, you could do something like that, because there's a lot of people in there.
My goal, like I said to you, I'm going to create a city, right? Communication, infrastructure, transition and youth. To me, it's a family, a country and a city. That's right, because these are the 4 goals, right? Then on top of it, your real goals are transparency, not secrecy. Do we have that right now? No. Prosperity, not poverty. Anybody rich you know around your area? Rich means wealthy, good, money, don't have to struggle, right? Homeowners, not homeless, which is why I took that initiative over 9 months to take these people off the streets.
Yeah, but
it was the hardest thing I
when
did.
COVID came, we picked up all our homeless in this nation and put them in hotels. Then 3 months later, or 4 or 5 months later, when the Russian war started and we had to forget about COVID, we kicked them all back up on the streets.
Well, this is why I say to you, our last programme of city, communication, infrastructure, transition and youth, right, is champions, not criminals. The last one, the last goal. Because if you put that together in a box, right, and that is everyone's values, everyone's goals. I mean, I like to see everybody in economic freedom. It's been a goal of mine. I don't know, I'm really het up on that. I would like to see everyone wealthy here. We don't need to have... We're wealthy in the sense that you own your home,
Yeah.
You have your kids educated. You can stand up for yourself. You don't need to rely on any government, on any problems or anything else, because you got freedom, financial freedom. That is something that money can't buy unless you've got it, unless it comes.
I don't think, you know, the general public, we all want mansions, we all want to be, you know,
You don't
multi-millionaires
have to, no.
and all like that. All we want, yeah, is like you say, to be able
Yes.
to go on holiday, be able to buy our home, and then when we're on our deathbeds, be able to turn around to our children and go, right, here's a starting block for you, you know, and pass our homes down to them, and, you know.
Before I came to you, I had a flat tyre, as you know. Look, I don't know what happened. But I was this guy came in, and I said, he said, we were just started talking, and he said, oh, it's really good, I like your podcast, all that, can I have a picture? I said, we had a picture there as well, right? And then he said, I said, what do you do? He said, I do pots. I said, what do you mean, like cannabis and cocaine and stuff? No, and he meant, no, pots in the gardens, you know. He says, all of my clients are very wealthy. He said, the guy that owns Daily Star, or I can't remember, but lots of people around our area, right? And he said, I said, so do you need any finance and anything on your properties? He said, no, it's all paid for. Now, I just thought in my mind for a second, here's a guy, common, very, very common guy, nice guy, lovely manner, you know, I mean, you know, all right, mate, like that. but he just like gave me this amazing ambition, because if I can do it, you can do it. Yeah. If you can do it, I can do it. We can't all do it. We just inhibit our minds and say, no, it's too much for us, we can't do that. But you can. If you think of something hard enough, you think of it, you believe it, you conceive it, and you achieve it. And you can, and everyone can do it. This is why I'm, as human rights, my only concern in that world is women and kids, to make sure that they're safe. I mean, I know Ukraine, that we're actually involved in it now, but before any war starts anywhere in the world, I've written a paper to the UN, falling on deaf ears as usual, because you know they're corrupt, is that women and children should leave that place. The government of that country gives them money, and they go somewhere else to another country without any headache on us, for example, if it's us, that they come with their own money, they have enough to put a house there for 3 years, the food, everything, always a problem. Then that's a different issue. But they don't, you know, the government's as smart as they can be. Oh, I've got this degree and I've got this, and I'm King Charles and I'll do that. They're all part of a system.
It's not that, I think.
And they don't want to let go of that system. They'd rather we get killed in COVID than live.
I just think they've lost track of actual, like,
Values.
Yeah, but yeah, values also, yeah, but they just don't realise they're in this bubble with the WEF and all that about the climate change and all this, and you know, our whole universities now are being twisted. I don't know if you saw
schools.
Our school. Yeah, well, yeah, our schools. Well, school is to indoctrinate you, put you in a uniform, turn up for 8 hours, do as you're told, go home. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if you're disruptive, then here's some medication. You've got ADHD. You know you need this. You know, that kid could end up being the next Elon Musk, but he thinks outside the box.
I think just like you.
Yeah,
100%.
but we just chuck medication at him, which is, you know, why we go over to Afghanistan to control the opium and all that.
We were talking about that on Ella's show, Ella McChrystal, and she says she said, what about the NHS? I said, well, what about the NHS? They'll give you a tablet, you'll eat that tablet every day on all these tablets, and 13 years passes and you're a big fat balloon, you can't walk down the street, and this is what they're going to do for you. This is your pharma that is going to happen. Now, but the NHS could have been called the Natural Health Service, where we could have had proper, like, she is a hostilic person, like, people who want to be healed naturally, I would have thought, in life. This is normal stuff for us, because our body at night time allows us to sleep, hopefully, to 8-9 hours, and starts fixing things inside. It takes time, but it starts doing its job.
So we've got a 11-year-old, I think she's 11 now, but she has up to 30 to 40 seizures a day. The only thing that prevents her from that is cannabis, THC drops. Now, for 2 years she had to go all the way to Holland
Yeah.
to get them, and then when she gets to the border, have a fight with the border, show them loads of paperwork that she's allowed to bring into the country,
They refused.
and then the government would only pay half the bill. So us in the village used to raise it every couple of months, raise the money for her to go get it. Now her daughter lives a pretty normal life now, you know, with these drops. Why isn't that really available for everyone?
Medication purposes, why not?
Yeah,
Why not? Anything, look, if cannabis had a formula to fix the heart, for example.
You've got it in your DNA, you know that, don't you?
Well-
You've got the cannabinoid, no, honestly, but you've got a cannabinoid cell that is actually part of the human DNA in your body. Everyone has.
Oh, I learned something new today.
No, it's actually in your body, the actual natural cell of it. So it's obviously there for a reason.
Yeah. And the other thing is that we're not meant to live to 100. We're meant to live longer, much longer. Have you noticed recently, look around you, right? People around you are looking younger.
Well, we've got the oldest woman in the world here now in Britain, 115 years old she is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's in Britain. She's the oldest woman in the world now.
Bloody hell.
So yeah, we're not doing too bad on that
Oh,
regard.
that's great. But we should.
But there's something that's inhibiting us not to live longer,
Yeah, wow.
you know. And I also think about things like stuff falling from the sky, and to be honest with you, going somewhere like this to get fish and chips, yeah, we've seen them cook it. There's nothing special gone in there, so we could eat it.
Oh, well, that fish came out of that ocean behind you,
Yeah.
and the chips came out of the soil and the farm across.
But in London, you go to these fancy restaurants, you know what they're putting in their food? They charge your arm and a leg. You come out hungry.
See, my wife said before I met you, she went, well, where are you going to take him to something to eat and all this, and I said, I'm called Real Brit, Real Talk for a reason. He's getting fish and chips. We're going to sit
I'm the
down.
one who said to you, let's get fish and chips.
Oh yeah, I said I was going to take the Weatherspoons and show you the real dark
thanks
side of
very much.
the real dark side
Got
of
one in our
England.
town,
You know what I mean? But yeah, what you see all the local drunk.
No, but this was, to be honest with you, this used to be before Indian restaurants came, this was our traditional food. I remember every weekend my parents used to buy fish and chips and bring it home, you know.
But Indian people, when they came over here, they looked at our boiled, salty food and were like, we're not eating this rubbish. So what we'd do is we're actually like dole down our dishes. We're making them a chicken korma. We're making their chicken masala and that.
Yeah.
You can't get that in India. They are British traditional food, which you know your culture brought over here and integrated and said, look, we'll make our businesses. This is how we make our money in Britain. We'll build our Indian restaurants. You come and enjoy it. We're integrate. You know what I mean? But then we've got other cultures that are just not doing that, are they?
No, they're not. I mean, you got to thank Tony Blair for that.
Oh yeah, I do. He should be in prison.
Open the door.
Yeah, he should
come
be
on
in prison. That
come
bloke.
on, everywhere.
He started illegal wars, flooded Europe.
Even
with
people came
migrants.
here, brought all their kids,
Yeah,
signed them all up on the child benefit,
yeah.
right? Housing benefit, and they all went back. The fathers and that stayed here a little bit, did their business.
Well, we had illegal immigrants going back for Christmas last year, didn't we? They come over here, claimed asylum, and then missed their families and jumped on a plane back home.
I remember.
Well, we were in Oxford Street, I wouldn't say touting, talking to people about where they live, get their vote, you know, will they vote for me and all this stuff. And I saw this Albanian woman, or Romanian she was, and I got talking to her. My friend felt so sorry for her. He went and bought her some food. I said, but why are you doing that? He said, I'll just look at her, you know. I said, but there's a reason for it, right? And then she wanted me to give her money, and I said, I'm not giving you any money. I'll buy you food. Okay. No, I don't want no food. No food. I don't want food. Okay, so you don't want food. What do you want? I want money. And then I said, okay, you know what? If I was mayor of London, I would have put you on a plane and sent you back. She said, I'm going back next week anyway. And she started speaking English.
Yeah, that's it.
She said,
There you
yeah,
go.
I'm going. She's going.
Yeah.
2 fingers to you, right?
right.
And I'll be back the following week and collecting money off the street.
And then that poor
see?
bugger that actually comes over here and actually
That makes
does
me sick.
deserve it. Yeah. But the poor bugger that does actually come over and deserve it, we're all going to look at him as the scammer, because we all know that the biggest benefit scam is being by immigrants.
I remember this story about this guy from the city. He used to do his work,
Yeah.
He had a nice Porsche 911 Turbo parked around the corner. He took off his nice suit and he wore these scrappy trousers and jeans t-shirt, coloured his teeth black, had a black eye under his eye and a newspaper, and went and sat down in Oxford Street.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a joke. You can't take... But when I took these guys off the street, the last bit of the story is that I managed to get them universal credit. After a lot of hassle, I got them a little studio each, right? And universal credit, they call it, right? $750, I think it is. And I got their bills paid. I got someone to get me iPads. I got someone to get me the beds. It was all charity, right? And like, at the end, I said to them that now you're all in a house. You've got some money. Take $250 out of your pocket for that month. Pretend you have 500. Put it into a box or into an account with 5 of you as the trustees, whatever you want. They all became friends, right? And then wait 5-6 months and you'll have about £110,000 in your bank account. And then you start a business. That's it, And that is what they've done. And they ring me and they say, oh, can you help? I said, no, I've done my job now. I've given you a house. I've got you an iPad. I've got you some money. You know, get on with your lives. You were all business people. They were all business people. These 3 women were amazing. One had a coffee business, one was in ice cream, and one was in clothing. Lost all their businesses, all of them. Every single one I spoke to, because it took me about 3 months to get friendly with them. They were really rude. I used to bring them Indian food every day for about 3 days a week. My friends used to give me them. They were throwing it away, and I'd finish, and I'd go about midnight. The shops were closed and they'd leave the food out there, and I'd go all the way back from Essex to London again. And I said, look, this is how passionate I am about you guys, and I don't know why I picked 49 people, but they all came together. And that was, you know, when you say about integration and segregation, these guys didn't know anybody. They were on the streets, and 90% of them were business people. They paid the system, they made money. And then their houses were taken away, the wives and the kids disappeared, vice versa, you know. And what do you do to those? Now they get involved in prostitution, drugs, this, whatever. But like, that's how I feel like I want to help people, myself. I want to know who I am. Do you actually know who you are apart from an identity? Who are you? Do you know?
I?
Yeah. I don't know who I am. I don't think anybody knows who they are.
I do. I know who I am.
No, but what I'm saying is like deeper. It's deeper than the face. It's deeper than the outside. Like we have an identity here, but who are we really? As individuals today, if we were helping everyone, because governments here have allowed us to be segregated. It is their role to, we'll put him here, we'll put him here, and we'll put him there.
Yeah, see, like for me, and I kind of know who I am because of circumstances in my life. So, for instance, in this hometown, like 200 yards down there, I was having a snake biting black. My ever first snake is a lager and cider.
A real snake.
No, it's a drink. It's called snake biting black. It's half lager, half cider with some blackcurrant in it. So, right?
That's interesting.
So I'm stood down in the local pub down there, and I'm drinking away. And anyway, a young girl comes around the corner. 4 Romanians have just tried grabbing her and raping her. Now she's screaming. They've come round the corner with her. So this situation, I had a choice. Do I just get this girl, go in the pub and, you know, or do I confront these men? I confronted them, ended up with a 6-inch scar on my neck from being slashed. They ended up doing 8.5 years in prison, like, for it. So, and other situations that I've been in have kind of shown me that, you know, what I'm willing to do and what I'm willing not to do. And when it comes to standing up for innocence, there's nothing I wouldn't do to do that. So that's why.
Me too. I would do the same.
What people say to me when I quit my job and started doing the social media thing, and that people said to me, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't put your face on camera around." I said, "Well, how can I get people to believe in what I'm saying? Or if I'm hiding it behind a picture, I have to. You know what I mean? I've got to put my face on camera." So that, you know, that's how the journey began. And I didn't really realise that so many people in Britain are looking for someone who's willing to speak on the behalf of them. And my main message to them is, don't wait for someone like me that's willing to shout and scream.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself. You know, grow the courage to do it yourself. Otherwise, we get nowhere. One lion isn't enough. You know, one lion's roar in the wind is a whisper. We need, you know, we need all the roars. We need everyone. We want the world to hear what's going on. So we'll end it on this. But out of everyone, like all these politicians and everything, because no one's got any trust in, you know, these politicians, what really sets you apart from everyone else, do you think?
I think I had my upbringing. My dad was very big in India. He gave it all up because he was fed up with the system. He was really, really high up, and when he came to England before I was born, I left my mum there and came to try and set something up, and he took a job as a caretaker.
Oh,
Right, and I'll never forget that because my dad taught me about roots, about life. Unfortunately, he died early, and so did my mum. So for me, it was hard to be in a world not having a brother, sister, mother, or father, almost like an orphan as such. But what I get out of this is that my heart says, and I know that when I ran for mayor, I don't know. It must be God spoke to me and said, you have to do this. And I didn't ask whether I'll win, lose or draw. And I have to give my heart. And that's what I want to do. That is who I am. This is all my life, even through the business troubles I've had. I've lost hotels. I bought beautiful hotels. I worked like a dog 20 hours a day as usual. Chucked all the money back in. What did I get? I lost them. And on the back of that, I lost my houses. And I'm pretty much, I was always a grounded person. You see, with me, the beauty was that even the people that worked with me, I always looked after their families, them. I don't know, I just wanted to do that. And like, it was all taken away. And I still want to ask God why. And then he said there's a bigger picture. And now, if I run for Prime Minister, I think I could really be the face of this country, bring our country to the forefront of the world and not be the back foot of anything, of any country. Because we've always been the back foot of America, I think. We're never the front foot of the world. And England has its own terrific history. But we've been rulers and stuff. But my heart is saying that I really want to help people, I really do. This is the only way I know how to do it. I can speak well, I can bring businesses in if I have to, I can do things. I've done lots of stuff. But if I've done it again, I'm the 50th guy, to be honest, off the street, basically. That's how I feel. Because like, when I sat with all of them, I want to do this podcast with 100 strangers. People I don't know from anywhere.
You'll sit in the middle of them.
I just want to sit there and close my eyes and I want to listen to their story.
I could arrange that for you.
Fine, that's good. But that's who I am. That's what I want. And it's not about, I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I had bad, I mean, Ella said, you know, it's really sad that this happened to you. It should never have happened, but it did. And you come out the other end.
It though, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've done boxing, I've done hotels, I've done lots of stuff. But what I really want to do is to be the person in this country to support everyone, you, me, myself. I want it. I want it for myself. Forget you.
I want it for my kids. That's
all I want it for myself, so I can have a life for my kids, my future. I want everything the public wants. Is that harmful?
No, that's it.
And this is something that I really want to have done because I can't see anyone else, because everyone else is focused on money. Look, Farage went all the way to, did he get invited? No. He got on a plane with his mate Candy Boy, right? Got on the plane. What did Musk say?
Well, Musk didn't want to know, did he?
No. What did they think of? They didn't think of Musk. They didn't think of reform. They didn't think of anything. They thought of $100 million. we can do this, we can do that.
Money,
And they
money,
flew
money.
on a jet plane. Now, you've got to be a little bit smarter than that in life, because you don't get, there's something in the world, you don't get something for nothing, right? You can't win the lottery tomorrow because it's just a game.
I never asked for a penny off anyone, like you know.
But for you to shut down your business, your work, and for you to now dedicate yourself here, I'm earning no money. You're earning no money. I'm wearing my suit, but that's about all I got now. But we can make it happen, because if you got Make Britain Great Again as well. People need to see that.
Revolution hats. They sent me some samples the other day. They're on Instagram. The Revolution hats they're called. But yeah, they make all the Great Britain hats and all that. I've got a mega hat as well, Make England Great Again, and yeah,
That's really good.
I love my country, and there's no two ways about it.
Look,
Love
I
it.
was born here, you know, and like this is my home. There's a guy in the social media. I was on was it Rob Show or someone? What did he say? This is England. Go back to your country.
Yeah. Well,
And I was on someone's podcast, and that came in somewhere. I can't remember. Was it YouTube or something? No, I don't know where it was. But anyway, it's laughable, because this is my country. Where am I going? Back to India. I've got a clue what's going on over there.
all I would say to anyone that don't love Britain, and we'll end on this, is if you don't like this country, it's 2025,
Yeah.
and don't let the big door hit you where the good Lord
Well, what did
split
Sama
you.
say? If you don't like it,
Leave.
there's the
But
door.
the thing is, he was talking
And
to his
leave.
own nation. That's the problem. On that note, pal, we'll end it, and good luck.